Alright YouTube, welcome back. It's Saint Jack Tar. Thanks for tuning in. We are back in WARNO, which is the new Cold War strategy game from Eugen Systems. Today we're on a 3v3 on the map Death Row. For those that aren't familiar with this map, this is a brutal map wherein 3 players fight to control this central sector. The interesting thing about this central sector is it's on a plateau, so you'll notice that here that it kind of goes up a gradient and then flattens out. Same on the other side, gradient flattens out. Obviously, defilade, lots of tree cover, buildings in between for cover for infantry units, and then we've got forests flanking either side of the valley, leading up into some hills, and then an array of warehouse and industrial buildings either side for the enemy and us to take up position. As usual, I'm playing my USSR deck with my mate Scribbles and my mate Jagged, which if you watched the last video, you'll be familiar with. And we're up against Empire Builder, Pugs, and Shabab Kebab. Contrast to my last video, I will not be as critical as I was in the last video, as I play rather poorly in this game. And without spoiling it, you'll see later on how it ends. But sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, grab a drink, hit that like and subscribe button down below, and let's get into it. Okay, so you can see here we're going T64 BVs, T80Us, and Strellas with some OSA, BRM1s. I'm really liking these with the exceptional optics. I've placed the CV in base. Jagged going with some Sapori RPO, a Motostrelki command, some Motostrelki metas. So this is just slow setup. This is my mate Scribbles. He's recently new to the game, so he's gone Motostrelki BMP 1Ps 4 times. He's got a T80B, pretty weak tank. 2 T80Bs. Like I said, this is like his second, I think, multiplayer game, so I'm not going to rag on him much for that choice. And 2 Strellas. Interesting, Strela had an update recently wherein that now it can fire on the move. However, it only has 3 missiles and a longer reload, which, Eugene, that sucks. Please fix. Either increase its reload time or give it its initial ammunition back together. Okay, so the battle started. We can see down here Empires, lots of engineers, mech rifles. Yep, engineers, mech rifles. A couple of chaparrals, pivards, engineers. You've got some Abrams, HA Abrams off the rip. Only hardened veterancy though. An Apache and a Kiowa. Another HA Abrams off the rip. Chaparral, elite veterancy, another HA Abrams, and an Abrams CV with Bradley Recon, a couple of fire teams, mech rifles in an M113, M113 Command, and Stinger with elite veterancy. So one thing we noticed on this this map when reviewing the footage, the people on the flanks tend to go with higher veterancy units, and the bloke in the middle went with lower veterancy and more of a spam tactic. And we'll see how it plays out for them in the end. You can see that we are kind of just hardened across the board. I have a couple of tanks that have elite veterancy, mainly my T80s, just to give them that quicker reload so I can punch out Abrams as quickly as possible. Got a Kiowa on the flank there. We're just going to press play. A couple of M10s at the back as well, which wasn't mentioned. Okay, so Empire Builder has said that he's going to rush up the middle, and obviously the boys are going to contest the flanks. MiG-31 rush off the rip. You'll notice as well that I'm not taking this central road, and you'll see why in a second. There appears to be a meta going on wherein similar to War Game Red Dragon, that you bomb the central road, or in this case, put artillery on the central road. You can see that he gets pretty damn close to just hitting this solo recon unit. I managed to peel it off just in time so that it survives the incoming barrage. But yeah, that could have been devastating straight off the rip. So my advice to people playing in the future is avoid the center road if you can. Take an off-road. You'll notice I've got motorized infantry in the BTR 60, so it doesn't really affect my speed a whole lot coming in. Unfortunately, he's able to forward deploy a lot further than I would have liked, so he pushes in quite heavily with the engineers and sets up a defensive position in the trees. I've got my OSA and my Motostrelki coming up, VR M1 coming up. So no engagements as of yet. I think the first real engagement we're going to see is on this left-hand flank. I get in the buildings here with some Motostrelki, pushes some engineers up, the M35 gets destroyed. We're going to speed up 2 times speed. So he's pushing up with his Abrams pretty hard with the Apache cover, Bradley as well. A Motostrelki are unloaded in the tree line here, and chaos just ensues. Not much of a battle here on the right-hand side, on our right-hand side. They just assume defensive positions and hold. We've got 2 Chaparrals and Pivads loading up, and you see this artillery coming in here. This ends up being a very constant and effective theme for these guys. Just constant artillery and mortar barrage. He sees me coming in with a mass of troops and my tanks. Straight away, artillery's onto it. I'd say these guys played an absolutely outstanding game, and all full credit to them. Especially shout out goes to Empire Builder. Just insane. This was interesting, I thought. M1, A1 Abrams, HA Abrams, for that matter. Only on hardened veterancy, coming up the guts. More engineers coming in, Pugs reinforcing his left. Engineers and mech rifles coming up the middle. We're just worried about the shelling at the moment. Scribble's T-80B's in a bit of trouble here. My Motostrelki engages, they're quite weak. Obviously artillery strikes giving them a bit of grief. BRDM here in the open but behind the defilade, so that'll give him some cover. It's quite a while until we realise these engineers here. I think this MIA TV figures it out, turns and engages it with rockets. I've got the engineer pinned down here, BRM with its cannon. It's pinning them down. Alright, I got a tank push. Here we go with lowest veterancy possible. We get a tank engagement here with these M1, A1, HA Abrams. They push in. I see it. I counter push. T64BV and a T80U. Push in. I get a couple of shots off. They clap the T80U, and then they get the T64BV. Second T64BV pushes up, and a knife fight ensues between tanks, and he gets that as well. So my position becomes really, really weak here. I was really concentrated on this area here. I think a little side note for myself is I'm not going to concentrate so much on holding this position, and I need to be more effective with my artillery and suppressing. Took me a very long time to take out these engineers. I've changed out my, you'll notice later in the battle, I've changed out my Frogfoots for some Su-24s with clusters. Quite effective. I'm going to keep them around. They seem to be quite good. Okay, so reinforcing with some Motostrelki BMP. Got more Motostrelki coming up in the BTR 60s. They're obviously withdrawing. Got Jagged coming in with support with the Hinds, the Mi-24Vs. And okay, so there's a fight here for this tree line. I didn't even see this. The engineers got routed, thankfully. But obviously pushes up further. Pivad's engaging the Hind. Chaparral pushes up as well to get the missile shot on the Hind. Luckily, Jagged's paying attention, he pulls the Hind back. I do this push up here with the Motostrelki. I hesitate a little bit because I see there's a little bit of a push here. suspecting that he might have tanks in the back line ready to ambush anything that comes up to counter it. Once I realise that that's not the case, you'll see that I push in. These are all elite veterancy motostrelki, so I'm going to put them in the tree line. I'm going to take these central buildings here and stop anything coming in on the right flank, and stopping the further advance of the chaparrals. So you see here Jagged bringing up motostrelki Menace. The motostrelki Menace has the 9K11 Menace rocket. Crazy, I think it's 24 or 26 pen, so it's wild against tanks. Here we go, Empire Builder, spam, low veterancy, Abrams en masse. Scribbles here with T80B, comes across like an absolute Chad and tries to give me cover. We notice that the flank is collapsing. The situation's getting real dire for me here on the on my left, or on their left, on my right. I do have tanks coming in to reinforce, but they're trickling in. It's probably not the right play here. Motostrelki coming in the BMPs. They push right in. Got Abrams up here getting engaged with Motostrelki Menace and the ATGMs. Got my own BMP2s engaging with Menace. I've got Jagged's got a suit coming in. Frogfoot coming in, engaging the Abrams with some ATGMs. Another one coming in, ATGMs. The Peveds and the Chaparral cover doing pretty well to suppress. F-15C Eagles coming in, really harassing our fighters, our aircraft. Got the Sioux, look at that, lucky hit there, killed an F-15C Eagle with the Su-25 Frogfoot, which is amazing, did not expect that. So got the Sioux coming in. I pulled him out a little bit prematurely here. I was worried about the chaparrals. And here we go. We got mortars pushing up. We got on the left. We got them on the right. They're on map. They now got the MLRS clusters ready in their base. The M110s, the M10s just engaging, and it's just a constant barrage all game. So this flanking maneuver here, they managed to push through Scribbles and we're starting to collapse on the center. Gets destroyed in the end. And this is a constant thing the whole time, just constantly collapsing and putting pressure on. Just constant artillery barrage. Still haven't really dealt with these mech rifles or engineers in this building. I suspect they're there, but I haven't done anything. I didn't manage my artillery properly, and one of my Akatsiya bites the dust. It Scribbles with some T80 BVs in the back here. My motostrelki are taking a pounding from the cluster. Fortunately for them, not super effective against infantry, but the BMP2 is just absolutely friggin' demolished. Jagged's coming in, T80Us in support. More T80Us on the center right. Scribbles here, his flank's kind of weak, but so's the enemy. Could have been a potential maybe chance to push through here, put some pressure on, but obviously Pugs is all over it. He's reinforcing 3 times. M1A1 HAs coming up the road, and not really a whole lot to counter that, to be honest. BMP 1Ps perhaps, with some lucky ATGMs might be able to get it. And this was constant. I like this bit from Empire Builder, constantly pulling his tanks back. So tank battles with him felt more like a skirmish as opposed to my tanks trying to consistently hold a line. Jagged's doing a similar sort of tactic where he pushes in, withdraws, pushes in, withdraws. It's kind of good. It's baiting the choppers into pushing in, which we eventually utilise to hit them with some anti-aircraft. So you can see really now, big tank push. We're getting pushed on our right, pushed in the centre. We've withdrawn our tanks though, deep into the tree line and along the ridge line here. Again, just artillery straight on it. Just incredible, just constantly under constant pressure from this artillery. Just absolutely insane. We come in from the center here on a sort of a flanking tank push. Get a couple of kills here on the Abram HAs, I'm pretty sure. Yep, it's a four stack T80Us with hardened veterancy, pretty good. Me and Jagged out here with our frogfoots now. Empire Builder sees our frogfoots, I think, and holds back, or he waits for further reinforcement. Once he has that, their 15C Eagle come out to engage Frogfoot. Okay, once I see that the Eagle's dealt with, my Frogfoot comes in. And then obviously this thing where the target goes dark, Frogfoot breaks off the engagement. Kind of annoying, but at least he's alive and he's not dead. So again, just more artillery, really frustrating. Get a decent barrage on the mortars and the Guard, but obviously, you know, the Guard is a HE rocket artillery. It's just not got the penetration in order to deal with those armoured mortar units, and it just has no effect really. More Guard trying to engage his MRS, but he's clearly moved them. Empire Builder all over it with the micro here, and just more tanks rushing up the centre. I've got 5 teams, Bradley's coming in as well. The position is in dire straits here. Manages to catch my Akatsiya as they're moving through the town to change position. So that's all she wrote on my artillery here, so that's no good. I've got T80U coming up in reserve, a couple of T80Us from Jagged coming up in reserve. It's a real desperate push to try and get tanks up here to hold the line. T80 BVs engaging Abrams head on, using the lip of that ridge line to just try and desperately hold. Just got a massive tanks back here ready to go, ready to push up over that ridge line if we see tanks advancing. More artillery on this tree line, it just keeps coming. It was relentless the whole battle. Really quiet on this left hand side of center here. Infantry still holding this position. You know, we've destroyed the building here, but his infantry is still here, so they still have visual on things that poke too far out of the tree line. And we watch this Pugs coming in, getting ready for a concerted push on the left, or on our right. Still holding on our left, their right. And here it comes the push. Okay, so BM1P's coming in, ATGMs, T80 BV alone, just not enough. And we were stretched really thin. We were really feeling the hurt here. They really pushed us out of this centre. They're just constant barrage of artillery, unanswered, just demolishing our tanks and all our units, just putting us under extreme pressure the whole battle. And obviously good cluster strike. I believe that was me who called that cluster strike. Did pretty well. I don't know that it got anyone, but it caused considerable damage and held them up, which allowed Scribbles to bring his units across to reinforce. Scribbles in the back got more T80Bs coming up the road ready to reinforce, and we're kind of just corralling this little push here and just cutting it off piece by piece. Got a Frogfoot coming in, and we're just picking it apart, so this little advance goes nowhere. Pugs committing a lot of units to that. That's costly. Big tank push here by Empire Builder. Was a sight to see, really scary. We push our own tanks forward here using the ridgeline for cover. We've got Australian Metis engaging from the left, which is fantastic because it holds up its line, allows our tanks to come over the ridgeline and engage. T80U all alone, fighting. Now the other tanks push up, but again, look, artillery barrage straight on us, and we're losing tanks. The cluster from the MLRS is insane. It appears in the last patch, cluster's got a major buff, and we're really feeling that in this battle. We've got Scribbles pushing up a whole bunch of T80Us now he's coming out with his good tanks. I'm having to resort to the remainder of my T64 BVs and now T80 BVs, so this is my weaker tank units coming out now, but we just need to get units in here. The pressure is on, it is mounting. You know, we've got Empire Builder here in a triple chaparral stack, which turns out to be absolutely deadly. We've got Pivads in a 2-pair, just a swathe of Abrams tanks, low veterancy, all of them pretty damaged, but he gets a logistics truck up here at some point. Oh, you see here, it's already empty. He's been using logistics this whole time to repair his tanks that don't get killed. This was a mistake of mine. You know, we've got to make sure that we kill them. We just couldn't get it done. We didn't have the units, and I didn't want to sacrifice the tanks. So, you know, we're engaging here with some T-80Us and T-80Bs, engaging ITVs here, trying to, you know, stem the tide of ATGMs coming in. Get lucky here, a couple of good ATGM shots ourselves, and yep, T-80U here narrowly dodges a ATGM to the face. Got more tanks pushing up the middle. Here I am with my T-64 BVs, T-80 BVs now. Really trying to put the pressure on it. Here we go. We've got tanks pushing out. We've got Pugs ready for another push on the left. We've got Shebab Kabam pushing center left now. So this is a really concerted effort to push on the left here. And just insane. We've got tanks coming in en masse. Here we go now. Now I've got there's a whole bunch of motor Strelki here in the back. A whole bunch of T-64 BVs. We're pushing tanks forward. We know this is a terrible position because we're just getting smashed here, but we've got no choice. We have to push out. We have to fight this. A good little cluster strike from whoever that was. Gonna assume it was Jagged. Scribbles comes in with the frog foot. But unfortunately, like, the amount of anti-aircraft just lying in wait here, just crazy. We've got Jagged coming in with a concerted triple frog foot stack here, really looking to polish off some tank kills. Got the supply truck pushed rather forward up, and here we go. And just look at the AA coming out of the chaparrals. This is another thing that needs balancing. The Strela is nowhere near accurate. Sure as hell doesn't have that fire rate, so it's kind of bullshit. Eugene, need to fix it. Got tanks coming out. We need to desperately counter. T-64 BV under constant cluster barrage, trying to counter these Abrams. I mean, they're really weak. We just need to push in. We've got Hines rocketing. The left, center left, or our center right is collapsing in good order here. We're withdrawing, a couple of units are withdrawing, T-80 is coming up in reserve in the center. We're pushing, trying to get these Abrams out. You know, the Hinds are getting as many as possible. We've got these helicopters here. AA too far back, Strelas need to come forward. That's a mistake from me. And I make several in this game. Artillery, constant barrage. Really trying to, you know, put pressure on a position. Look at the supply trucks he's chewing through to keep these tanks healthy. I think that might be the difference, really. You've got a lot of supply trucks just sitting here. This was a mistake of ours, obviously. Should have pushed them forward. Got some OSAs coming up. I'm getting sick of the constant helicopter threats. I'm bringing in a quad stack of Strelas. Interesting, especially after my last video, how I said don't counter tank with Strelas, but here I am. You know? Yep, call me a hypocrite. But at this point in time, I think I was getting pretty low on tanks, and I think my thought process behind it was we desperately need to keep the remaining friendly tanks alive, and this is where I pump out my the 80 BV spam. This is my last ditch, really. I'm running out of tanks here, and I'm desperate. We've got to contest. Motor Strelki Command's still alive somehow. They haven't really put any pressure on this center right. The Motor Strelki are in the open. I move the Strelas around here in order to avoid this artillery barrage that's just constant. T-64 BVs ready to go in. Got a push here. T-80 BVs coming in from Scribbles, makes a concerted push. And it is immediately countered with an Abrams push of their own. You'll notice here that their health is all back. They're pushing in with Bradleys, with fire teams loaded up, ATGMs ready to go. We've got clusters coming in, Frogfoot's marshalling in the rear. Our tanks are lining up, and we have to make a push. We have to counter this. So we come in, there's napalm strikes coming in. Frogfoot's waiting for him to overcommit, I believe. And instantly Chaparral's triple stack with two on the left as well. Just too much anti-aircraft. The tanks push in, and here we go. We come out. We're coming out to counter. Bit of a suicide charge from Scribbles here, but we need to put the pressure on. We need to hold them. They've unloaded all this infantry here now, and it's just insane the amount of units that his Empire Builder's piled in here. He's really trying to take this point. We've got clusters coming in really close. The tanks are engaging, withdrawing back, doing a fighting withdrawal. We've got Bradley IFVs pushing across the field here now, really putting pressure on OSAs and stuff. Frogfoot's coming in, cleaning up the Bradleys. We're engaging tanks here. Good cluster drop. Whoever that was, I believe that was Scribbles. He's using Frogfoot clusters. Big push on the left by Plugs here. Abrams, just insane. This manages to get really, really far in, I think. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong. But he makes a concerted push here and absolutely no resistance on the left. The left is collapsed. He's hesitant to push any further forward. Scribbles comes out. T80U has to contest it. We've got an Abrams here. Elite Veterancy. And just look at the reload on the Elite Veterancy. We managed to get him. I managed to get him here with a quad stack. Was a quintuple of T80 BVs here. Just have to put the pressure on. A whole bunch of fire teams pushing in now. This is the final moments of the Motostrelki here, and I think they know it. They're just holding on for dear life, hoping for reinforcements, and they're not coming. We are spread too thin. Jagged pushing up Motostrelki and BMP. The Grant's pushing forward. Here we are. TPV coming to put pressure on. Kills the Command Abrams. That was a good kill. We've got Bradley and another Command Abrams in the back line here, just above the ridge. Gets engaged by T80s from their right, our left. Fire teams push up, immediately suppressed with the T80BVs. I managed to get a recon truck up here so we can get some repair on these beleaguered T80BVs. And it just immediately pushed in. Shibab Kebab pushed in, low veterancy Abrams spawn. Just pushing in. M150 spam, just insane. These are with the tow missiles, just brutal units. Super annoying when you encounter them in the woods, but you know, perfect for what he's got going on. The push on the left dies out. I mean, he hasn't got that many Abrams left on this left-hand push that he's trying to make here. It's a concerted effort to really apply the pressure on Shibab Kebab. I was actually surprised. I thought this was Empire Builder putting the pressure on, but it appears we've mainly dispatched most of Empire Builder's tanks that he was pushing us with previously. Unless he's withdrawn them somewhere. No. Seems like we've managed to deal with that problem, and just look at the amount of supply trucks here. I mean, what is this, a Canadian protest convoy? That's just insane. Here we go, Motostrelki coming up. This is my Motostrelki menace. This is my good A2GM. Cluster strike comes in, narrowly missing our tanks here. I believe this was a friendly cluster strike. There's a lot of communications going on here, talking about not pushing forward, waiting for the strike to go ahead. Eventually I made the decision that we needed to push forward. The time was of the essence. They've completely captured the point here. We needed to put the pressure on. Jagged making a push here. Motostrelki out in the open, just getting absolutely chewed up by Pivads and M150s, and just evaporated that quickly. Mech Rifle Command Unit with Abrams, and again low veterancy Abrams. I've got a lone T80BV here. Good cluster strike from the Frogfoot there. And here we go. We push through this tree line. We want to clear it out, make sure that Pug's push is really well and truly gone now. It appears it is. I've got a lone Motostrelki Menace unit here with BMPs just holding the line. I really wanted to probe and find out what was in here. Turns out a metric ass ton of fire teams. And it just becomes a brutal fight here. In a minute, just absolutely fire. Need to push in, need to clear them out, need to apply more pressure, and as you can see, the piles of tanks are just mounting. Good cluster strike there, just insane. Pops a whole bunch of tanks here. We push in, BMPs engaging at close range, knife fighting with fire teams. The fire teams fighting for their lives against the BMPs. Motostrelki pushing, advancing with no regard to their own safety, and then they're immediately caught in the open by mortars. Their comrades dying all around them, but they must push on We must capture this objective at all costs. The final fire team succumbs to the pressure. And we withdraw, expecting more artillery. No, that's right, a friendly cluster strike was called in. This is where we were negotiating, and I said, no, I must push in. The cluster strike's done, so we're pushing in to capture the objective. Scribbles is pushing in with more T-80 BVs. The OS is pulling back. My T-80 BV waiting in the wings. Motostrelki rushing in. I've got my T-80 BVs here holding the flank. MiG-31's in the air, just maintaining air cover. Come up here, just slap down that remaining Abrams. And it looks like here for a moment we've gained a bit of breathing room. Our tanks push up, but little do we know, there's more to come. And Pug surrenders here. Now, initially we thought, oh, they've run out of units. They've run out of command vehicles. They must be really low on units. I don't think that's the case. I think this was a disconnect. It's unfortunate because this effort here from Empire Builder, Pugs and She Kebab, just insane. Shibab Kebab. So we managed to sneak in an Mi-8K and snipe the CV from the enemy. They managed to quickly reinforce the CV in there. We've got 0 points on the board this whole time, no points gained. MiG-31's pushing in, Scribbles with the Frogfoot just kind of doing circles right above the Chaparrals. Really dangerous. We're pushing in here, T-64 BVs. We've really got to engage these Abrams. We can't allow them to establish a foothold here. Obviously this is Pug's last units before he disconnected. Dogfight in the sky here for Phantoms engaging MiG-31s. They're really trying to get rid of these Sukhoi 24 clusters because they're really doing work. The Chaparrals are really plying on the pressure here. Jagged's coming in with Frogfoot's. Phantom eats 2 missiles from the Frogfoot here. Goes down to ground fire from the aircraft position, and they're really coming in heavy now. It's getting really dire. We've got Strela's positioned, ready for to counter any sort of helicopter push. It just doesn't come. They're not coming with helicopters anymore. This is all infantry, all tank. It's just insane. Looking Metis in position, ready. ATGMs just come flying out of the tree line. Bradley just absolutely eats it. Pugs, Abrams just holding center. Just really working, trying to get this unit, this massive infantry here, really to push through the center and take up a commanding position. Here I am pushing with Motostrelki BMP-1 en masse. They're under pressure, they're taking ATGM fire, and Empire Builder surrenders, and that's the game. So, while I think our defense was heroic, I don't think we deserved this victory. Empire Builder, Shibab Kebab, and Pugs just played a superb game. I personally made a lot of mistakes there. Scribbles, obviously newer to the game, made some mistakes. Jagged. I can't say much about him. He did pretty well. But it was a vicious knife fight for the center there. Just constant artillery barrage, constant probing attacks from entire columns of Abrams tanks, and we managed to hold on long enough to get the win. But yeah, GG to the boys. It was just crazy. Eugen Systems, please, for the love of God, fix the Strela. 3 missiles with that reload is ridiculous. Give us a faster reload or put the missiles back on. And that's me. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And please like and subscribe down below. And hit the notification bell if you want to see more, because I'm definitely loving this game and there will be more content, I'm sure of it. But until next time, see ya.